This is the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Our Voice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Our Voice 360. Let's go! Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Our Voice 360. Our perspectives, our ways. I'm your man, Chad Bumgarner, and I have with me my man, Pete Hunt. What's up, Pete?
Hey, chillin', man. What's good, family?
Hey, same old, same old. But enough about that. Let's just go ahead and get into it.
As always, our show is brought to you by Alex Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading?
And if you, our listening viewers and watching viewers, have anything that you want to have us talk about, or if you want to give us some insight on how we're doing, or what you want to see, or what you want to see changed, please do not hesitate to contact us at our email address, ourvoice360@gmail.com. That's ourvoice360@gmail.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, today we are touching on a few things. The first one, we're going to jump into this critical race theory, but not in the same aspect of last week or a week before, rather, but more along the lines of what the generals had to say about critical race theory and why it's important, not only to them, but to us as well. And then we're going to have a spotlight on a well-known athlete. She's really making her mark in the world now, and she's going to make sure you know her name.
Yes,
and
sir.
then finally, we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to touch on the voters' rights issue and what's going on with the Department of Justice with that, what they're doing. So, all right, Pete, let's go ahead and get into it, man. So we're starting off with the critical race theory issue. Last time we talked about what it was, as opposed to what the far right was saying. What they felt it was. I mean, basically, It was pure ignorance. I mean, there is a clinical definition for the term critical race theory, which, by the way, is not being taught at any level of academia. So, but they still want to push that fear and that ignorance to the masses, and unfortunately, a lot of people are believing it, which makes it quite the challenge to really get a handle on this. But in the Senate the other day, one of the generals, I think it's Milley, is that right?
Yeah, Mark Milley.
Mark Milley. I'm really happy with his response on the critical race theory. In the aspect of being a general and being a well-read person, and understanding that in a position of leadership, it is wise to be well-read and to read various aspects of a topic so that you can get a general basis for what you're dealing with. You should not want to speak about any topic, for that matter, and just read one source and be ignorant to the fact. You know what I'm saying? Right. I do remember in his response to the Senate where he said he read about Marx, but that doesn't make him a Marxist. Right? And he's read some stuff on Hitler and some other people, which makes sense, again, as a general, especially because you want to know the different mindsets that you're dealing with, especially extremists that have a grappling hold on the masses, so to speak. And it's like, why do they feel this way? Why do they think this way? So that we can better prepare ourselves on how to deal with people like that. I think that's a very intelligent move to make, but it appears that the right feels like he's wrong for saying he wants to learn more about it. And he also wanted to learn about, I think it was, white rage or something like that?
Yeah, and he wanted to know about, why was there so much white rage that led to January 6th.
The insurrection.
And yeah, the insurrection. And I mean, and he wanted to learn more about critical race theory. Again, we defined last time we were on what critical race theory was. And if you don't know what it is, use your Google machine. Google is your friend, and it'll tell you exactly what critical race theory is, because it's been talked about so much here in the past few weeks. If you haven't done your due diligence to research what it is, you are lacking and you're behind.
Yeah. Check the last podcast, by the way, because we gave the definition.
We gave you the definition, and we explained it very thoroughly what critical race theory is, and the theory behind it. Again, Chad and viewers and listeners, this is a created boogeyman by the far right. Nobody had even heard or knew of what critical race theory was until the far right created this boogeyman. Again, because it's not even taught until graduate school.
Mm.
This is not something that's taught K through 12.
Right.
This you have to be a graduate student in law to even know what critical race theory is about. It saddens me that people are so gullible.
Right.
And people who refuse to learn about history of other people, or even theories of other people, other cultures. It's sad that you want to whitewash history.
Right. Right.
You don't want your children to learn history. And not saying that children should learn critical race theory in K through 12. I'm not saying that. But the history of this country being stripped from K through 12 history books in itself is crazy to me. I mean, it's to the point where, Texas schools teach that black people were indentured servants and we enjoyed slavery, and it gave us an opportunity to, work. And I'm like, come on, man. But yet the state of Texas is the same state that will allow you to walk around without a gun permit. You can just go buy a gun without a permit or anything, no background checks or anything.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes. Abbott put that into law a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. But why would you not want to know about the ugly history of this country?
Because it doesn't favor you.
There you go. And I mean, you don't want to teach your children about the ugly past of your ancestors and what they did to people that look like me and my ancestors. And that's sad. That's sad because, we are quick to learn about Christopher Columbus and Abraham Lincoln and all of this and all of that. And, you're quick to throw those things up. But when it comes to learning about other cultures, all of a sudden it's a problem. And it's extremely sad. That's why I tell young people and even some old people, read a book about your culture, about your people, about where your people came from, the kings and queens that your people came from. And if you're a Christian, biblically, where your ancestors came from biblically. And I'm not going to go into
I was about to say, that. Pete, that's a whole another can of worms.
Chad, because I could really go in, but I'm not going to do that on this podcast. We may save that for another podcast where we can just break all of that down.
Right.
But again, it boggles my mind, the fear that people have of history, of true history, because where I live in North Carolina, Confederate flags on every corner is becoming like liquor stores. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, You don't even know your own history. You're flying a flag of traitors. You're flying the flag of okay. And then what kills me is the one where they have the Confederate flag and the United States flag on the same flagpole.
Completely conflicting.
Do you not know? Do you not get it? That just lets me know that you're not a learned person.
Right.
You're not learned. You don't know what that means. And it's just when it comes to Mark Milley, General Milley, and the responses that he's getting from people from the far right is laughable to me. It's funny because those same far right people are always pro police, pro military, pro this, pro that, until it doesn't work in their favor. Now, one of their biggest cheerleaders on the far right, Fox News personality, because that's what he is. It's not about news to him. Personality, Tucker Carlson, yesterday called General Milley. Now, this man has served multiple terms overseas in wars and this, that, and the third, and has more military experience in his pinky toenail than Tucker Carlson. But Tucker Carlson called him last night, called him a pig and stupid on his show last night and on his opening show last night.
Well, let me give a quick side note too.
Okay.
It has been documented that the Fox News show even said that we should not take Tucker Carlson seriously. Okay. It's been documented. I just want people to understand.
Oh, they said that. They said that in court. They said that in court so they wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they said that.
But it's not true.
But yeah, he's a personality. But now those same people that are pro military, pro police, and pro FBI, now all of a sudden they don't like them now because they're not in their favor. They're not going with what they want them to go with, which is this boogeyman of critical race theory. And it really just shows us that those folk have no agenda to improve this country. None. They have no agenda, because if you had an agenda to improve this country, you would put that forth. You would put your plans forth on what you want to do to improve this country.
Well, Pete, let me interject real quick. I think they do have an agenda, and I think they have put their plans forth. They just hadn't been open and upfront. They've been buried between the lines. Oh, they have an agenda. They want to make America like it was.
Oh yeah,
because if you look at that show and what they believe and don't believe, they really want to put America back in the 40s and 30s, or if not earlier, because that was when America, quote unquote, was great in their eyes. But now that America has been a melting pot, there it is, for many years, and they see that people of color are starting to become
the majority
of influence. That bothers them. That bothers them because along with that comes, in their mind, comes power or lack thereof.
Exactly.
And if I feel like I'm losing power, it's just like if I'm drowning, I'm gonna do everything in my doggone power to not drown, to get air. And that's what they're doing. They're doing everything in their power to not drown. But the thing is, had you just been upfront and honest and fair dealing in every level, it wouldn't matter what group of people is the majority. We would all be equal. But because you've done so much, so much nastiness, so much, and being so hateful, and it's documented proof.
There it is right there.
I just wanted to show people, for the ones that are watching, but for the viewers, the listeners, I'm holding up a book entitled The Color of Law, A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America. It's a great read. You should pick it up. I think we mentioned it before.
I mentioned it.
This is a must-have in your collection. You really need to read. It will open your eyes. And it's funny how we get so upset, those of us who live in the Black communities, that I don't want to go too far off tangent, people. That I just really need people to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm not gonna do it. Let's reel it back in. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Let's just stay on the critical race theory. Excuse me. But yes, so Fox does have an agenda. They want to take it back to the way it was. That's their agenda, and they're losing power. And so this is this is Custer's last stand, if you will, their last ditch effort to try to have some kind of remnants of the past, but it's not going to happen.
And I really want to go to one of these parent meetings with the school systems and all this other stuff, and all of these folk talking about, I don't want critical race theory taught to my children and this, that, and the third. I just want to ask them one question. Do you even know what it is? Define it for me. And see, and if I was a school board member, that would be my first question. Before you get up here and rant and rave and cut the fool with your little signs and all of this other stuff.
Right.
Please, Susie and or Johnny.
Or Karen.
Karen and or Biff. Define what critical race theory is. Just define it for me. Define it for everybody that's here.
So we'll know what we're arguing about.
So because we want to know what your real concern is, if you know what it means. That should be the first question in any of these, these meetings that we've been seeing, and where folk is outside with their picket signs and this, that, and the third, and you're not going to indoctrinate my children, and we all are the same, and this, and he would quoting Dr. King when you can't stand Dr. King. What does it mean? What is the true definition of critical race theory? What is it? And if you can't define it in front of all of us, what are you talking about?
Don't come up to the mic and talk.
Real simple. And again, with going back to General Milley, he stood on it, and I was cool with that. He stood on it, and I was cool with that. I mean, and like I said, we've talked about before. This is their newest boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The next one is going to be Stacey Abrams. She's going to be the next one. She's going to be the next boogeyman. After the critical race theory things dies out and yada yada yada. Because they're already planting seeds with I think it was Joe Manchin's, his not redacted, but redone bill for voting rights. And Stacey Abrams came out, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that later in the show. We'll get to that later in the show. But again, this is much to do about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what this is. This is coming from a group of people who can't improve the country for everybody. So in turn, we're going to try to grasp everything negative that we can of people that don't look like them. So anything that's Black, Latino, my Indian brothers and sisters, anything they'll grasp on to make something negative and make a boogeyman out of, because they have no ideas to bring this country together and make this country better for everybody.
Right.
So again, Milley, I applaud him. I applaud General Milley for standing on it, standing on what he said, and I have no issue with anything that he said in front of the Senate the other day. I don't
either. It needed to be said, and I appreciate the fact that he was man enough to stand up there and say it, because it just makes sense when you are in a position of authority, especially as the general of the military. It is a wise thing to be well read outside of that, to seek counsel. To grab a bunch of other people on these topics and say, hey, help educate me. I need all the information from different aspects that I can get, so that we can make a better decision on how we need to move forward with our
Exactly.
troops.
Yeah.
What do we need to educate our troops when they're coming into the military, basic
Mm-hmm.
training or
Mm-hmm.
training to be certain officers? What do you need to understand about
Mm-hmm.
critical race theory or just
Right.
people of different ethnicities? What is it that we need to
Exactly.
understand? Because the thing is, none of this conversation is going to be going on if we're in a war and I'm in the foxhole with a white dude, an Indian dude, and a Latino brother. We're not talking about critical race theory. We're talking about saving each other's behind so we can get home.
Exactly. Exactly.
You understand what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So let's get smart about it and start respecting each other and each other's
Mm-hmm.
cultures and ethnicities, and start trying to understand and celebrate what makes us different, because it's in that we create unity, and that's what makes us
Mm-hmm.
strong. But when you are consistently trying to put down a group of people just so that you can maintain power or
Right.
or influence, it's only to your detriment in the long run. So
Yep.
again, I appreciate General Milley for what he did, and I hope they do move forward. Also with the putting that board together to investigate the insurrection, to get to the bottom of it, because
Yep.
if they move on that, it's going to be a lot of for some people it's going to be a lot of eye openers as far as people involved, but for some of others like myself, it's going to be like, well, we knew that.
Yeah.
That was nothing new. We were just waiting for it to be brought to light. So
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to see how that turns out. But Pete, anything
Uh,
on that else on that
uh,
before we?
um, do we want to speak on General Lloyd J. Austin III, the Secretary of Defense, or do we just want to keep it moving?
I'm not sure if it's worth even bringing him up. Initially I was happy for his um, position, but after his comments about critical race theory and
Yeah.
how we should leave that alone, or it's not important, or whatever he said, I'm rocking with Milley. I really don't have anything else to say about Floyd or whatever his name is.
Lloyd J. Austin III. Yeah.
Whatever.
Uh,
Whatever.
Secretary of Defense.
Whatever. General Milley's my dude. Go ahead.
If we're not going to touch on him and his comments about it,
He ain't touching on us. I'm not touching on him.
hey, we can move on then.
Well, in other news, ladies and gentlemen, we want to really give a shout out of big ups to the sister who is up and coming, who is breaking records everywhere she goes. Every time she steps on the track,
Yes,
she is showing up and showing out. Do you understand what I'm saying? And don't get it twisted. You will know her name.
Oh, yeah. She's going to let you know. She wants you to say what her name is.
We want to congratulate Miss Sha'carri Richardson on her latest win, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
at the Olympic trials. Yeah.
At the Olympic trials. Didn't she break the record there, or was that before?
Well, she broke the record when she was actually a freshman at LSU, the NCAA record. NCAA record at she ran a 10.75 at LSU as a freshman. That's what really put her on the map. Yeah, that made her, one of the 10 fastest women in the world at 19 years old. And so, I mean, let's give a little backstory to Miss Richardson. From Dallas, Texas, ran collegiately at LSU, came into prominence at LSU as just super fast track star.
Yeah.
And she ran two of the fastest times. She ran a personal best actually at the trials. She ran a 10.72 at the trials, which at that time made her the sixth fastest woman in the world all time. So, and then after that was before the last qualifying round where she ran a 10.86. Okay. You fast. So this young sister is taking track and field by storm right now.
She is.
Because she is the first legitimate American female track runner in the 100 and 200 to actually be able to win the events in this year's Olympics since FloJo in '96, which we all remember FloJo.
Oh yeah.
Rest in power to that great sister. Rest
Indeed.
in power to her. And you know, she's the world record holder. She broke the world's record in those '96 Olympics. No, she did not. She broke them in the World Championships, I think. FloJo broke the 100-meter world record. Yeah, she's the closest thing that we're going to see to FloJo. That we're going to see to FloJo in the 2021 Olympics.
Unless Jamaica's got something up their sleeve.
Yeah. Unless Jamaica, I mean, but you know, we know what them Jamaicans are bringing to the table, and that's why
they always represent.
Yeah, and that's why we haven't had a American track female American runner to even come close to winning a gold medal in the Olympics since '96.
Well, it might be said. Well, no, because Usain Bolt came later. So I was about to say, for the men's, it's been a while for American men's 100 and 200 because of Usain Bolt.
Yeah, Usain Bolt. I mean, another Jamaican, another Jamaican that's dominated, dominated track and field, which I think he finally retired, which is a good thing for everybody else now. Because now somebody else has a chance. The field is open now. The field is open now on the men's side, but Sha'carri is a phenomenal talent, and she's going to get better. She's going to get better, and she actually has a legitimate shot of winning the gold in this year's Olympics, and I couldn't be more prouder for that sister.
And you know what, man? The scary thing is, she's what, 21?
Yeah, 21.
19? 21?
Yeah, 21. Mm-hmm.
Bro, she's got at least 2, maybe 3 more Olympics in her if she stays healthy.
Yeah, if she stays healthy.
So that whole dominance could be a run for quite a while if she stays healthy.
Yeah, and of course she's coached by one of the greatest track coaches to do it in Dennis Mitchell. So I mean, the sky's the limit for this young sister. I'm telling you, she is. And after every race, she tells you, I'm not going to say the words that she say, but basically say my name.
Right. That's why I said in her intro. Yeah. You gonna know who she is.
You gonna know who she is. I mean, if it's not the nails, it's the hair.
Right.
I mean, it's all of that and it's so great that we're basically looking at FloJo 2.0. She is FloJo 2.0.
That's true. It's history in the making.
Like I said, from the FloJo's nails to the hair to, I mean,
all she's missing now is the one sleeve on and the one sleeve off. Or the one leg and
one leg on, one leg off. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's all she's missing.
That's all she's missing. So we applaud this sister, and she's doing great things.
Indeed. Also, big ups to the Jamaican crew and big ups to Yam Juice. I just want to throw that in.
Yes, sir.
That's their secret ingredient, if you ask me. That Yam Juice, I believe that's their secret ingredient.
Yeah.
But all right, Pete, let's wrap this thing up with the voters' rights issue that's going on. It's the Senate shot it down to even discuss it. We were talking about that off air. The Voters' Rights Act, and I feel like it's imperative for the president to really step up and make this thing happen because I think you and I talked about this too at another point in time. I mean, Juneteenth is cool. Thank you for the day off, but we really need for y'all to stop killing us.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
We need tangibles. As black folk, we need tangible things passed for us, because it's really funny that and I'm glad my Asian brothers and sisters, they got a bill specifically for them. But it took 1 year of bullying Asian folk, and they got a bill off the rip. Day one, they got a bill.
Not even a year, but yes, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You know, since the pandemic popped off, and there was a lot of anti-Asian bashing going on, and day one they received a bill off the rip. And we have been waiting for an anti-lynching bill for what, 40 years or something? A long time. We've been looking. Well, it's been long.
Yeah,
It's
since
been a long.
slavery's been over, if you really want to be honest.
Yeah, honest. Yeah, honest about it. Yeah. And it's just it's really disheartening that as Black people we can't get anything done for us.
Mm-hmm.
The people that built the economic backbone of this country can't get a bill for just anti-lynching. Don't lynch us.
Right.
We can't even get that. I mean, we're not even talking reparations. We're not talking about just anti-lynching. Can we start with that?
Right. Exactly.
And we can't get that. That's even controversial. But back to the voting rights. Merrick Garland has sued Georgia, the state of Georgia, over their the latest voter suppression laws that they have enacted, and we will see where this lawsuit goes. But if you can't see what's really going on, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. This is not about being naive or not knowing or anything. It's right in front of your face what's going on. It's right in front of your face, so there's no excuse.
The thing that frustrates me is if your candidate did not win, there are a number of things that you can look at as far as why they did not win. Voting could be one of them. So even if that's one of the many reasons why your candidate did not win, why would you impose a voter's law where you're restricting voting to just one day, where you're saying that you can't, the drop-off boxes have been eliminated, or instead of 300 drop boxes all over the state, you now have 100, where no one can hand you water in line. I mean, some of this dumbest stuff. Why would you restrict? If anything, you want to make sure that the voting process is legal and valid and easy for every American to vote, because that's why you're losing, is because of the vote. It's not.
No, bro, that's not how
it's
this
too
is
much
supposed
like
to
right.
work. This is not how it's supposed to work, because too many of those people vote. Too many of those people voted, so that's why our guy didn't win, because too many of those people didn't vote. Too many of those people voted.
But see, that's not even the case. Look at this, Pete. Look at this. Anytime that there is a close election, and I know I'm not telling you something that you don't already know, but this is more so for our listeners and viewers. Anytime that there's an election and it's close, Black folks are always the ones who put you over the edge or allow you to lose. We are always the tiebreakers. So you cannot blame this all on Black folks. You got some of your own that don't want you in office. Start there.
Yeah.
Start there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to put us through the ringer because we didn't side with you. Well, you got half of the population that look like you that didn't vote for you. Start there.
My grandma had a saying, don't cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yes.
And that's what's going on. You would much rather stop people that look like me from voting, and knowing that you're hurting your own vote also. Because if you stop mail-in ballots, who does mail-in ballots the most?
Elderly people and military.
Okay. Who 9 times out of 10 are going to be conservative in most cases.
In most cases.
So you're gonna stop that. You're going to, well, you're talking about drop boxes and all of that. They're limiting that to certain communities.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So when you say that, or when you say voting centers, we're gonna have one in this whole county, and then you look at the population of the county, and then you know what's going on. Or we're gonna vote at this church, but the vote machines are broken, so you got to go all the way across county to vote, and then they tell you you're not in our precinct. I mean, if that's not voter suppression, what is it? And like I said, this is right in your face. I mean, just blatant racism and voter suppression and bigotry all rolled up into one. This is exactly what it is. It's not about sugarcoating anything.
That's true.
This is about making it harder for black folk to vote. Nobody else. Because black folk voted and got your guy out of office. And now you mad. So since I'm mad and I'm still trying to kiss his ring, which is crazy to me, because this dude has no power. That just...
You know what? He said he's supposed to be back in office by August, reinstated. Yeah, Pete, I know.
Chad, sometimes I wonder, people that talk reckless like this, what did you do in school? Did you read a book? Did you learn anything in school? Are you just that gullible? Are you just that naive? Are you just that racist? Are you just that bigoted that... I mean, and that's what it boils down to.
One of his professors said he was the worst student he ever had it.
I tell you what, but something has to be done. Senate needs to stop playing. And I don't know what channel they can use, because anytime the right is in control, they find all kind of ways to circumvent.
No, they don't. They just push it down our throat. But then when we try to do it, they're saying, well, they're not being bipartisan, or they're not trying to work with us.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
But even if there are rules to curb whatever they're trying to do, they will circumvent. They'll find a loophole in something to get something passed.
That's true.
So again, the Senate needs to do something with these voting rights, because it's going to get real ugly and it's going to get really ugly and really messy in some of these states, because it's to the point where they're putting in laws now, especially if the attorney general of that state is a Democrat, where the Republicans run the Congress in a particular state. They're stripping away the power of the attorney general and giving it to people, other Republicans, to say, okay, we can overturn the election of the state if we don't like it. If we don't like it, we can just overturn it and not ratify it. We're not going to ratify it until the numbers are in our favor. So we're not going to ratify the vote. That's crazy.
It is. That's ridiculous.
That is absolutely crazy. And that's not how this country is supposed to work. That's not how it's supposed to work, Chad.
Says who?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's their interpretation of the law. And it's sad. I mean, because they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Yeah. But like I was telling you earlier in the podcast, it's their last grasp at maintaining what little power they feel like they have. And I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
Yes, sir.
They are scared, and they're trying to maintain as much power as they can, if not everywhere, in certain strategic places where they can manipulate laws. And see, that's where we have to be mindful and remember. I mean, it's great to organize in our community and strategize and do everything we need to do in the community, but we still need representation in the Senate and in the House. We have to, because we can create another Black Wall Street, one in every state, two in every state. We can do it right now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the powers that be, if they see fit that, okay, they're thriving too much, we need to put what? Policies in place, laws in place. They're going to do that. We want a tenth of everything they get, or 70% of everything they get, or we'll restrict them to this, this, and this. So even though we're trying to create an environment that's conducive for our success, we still have to have somebody or some people in the House and in the Senate who are fighting to make sure that we continue to have rights and the ability for the pursuit of happiness, however we deem fit, and not be restricted, basically because of the color of our skin.
Yeah, you're exactly right, sir. You're exactly right.
So, oh man, another great one, Pete.
Yes,
Anything else? This has been really therapeutic today for some reason. I don't know why, but it has. Anything else, man? You wanna?
Yeah, I want to uplift a book, because we missed our book of the week last week.
Yeah, we did.
And the book of the week is actually something you sent me the other day. And I'm going to pick that up, sir, because I didn't know this book existed until you sent it to me the other day. And the name of the book is From Babylon to Timbuktu: A History of Ancient Black Races, including the Black Hebrews.
Yeah, when I text you that, you said must get, and I took that text as you telling me that you need to have it. So
yeah,
I got it.
All right, there we go.
It came yesterday. It came yesterday. So I'll be taking some time to dive into that.
All right, show it to him again, Chad.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, what the book looks like.
Yes, sir.
From Babylon to Timbuktu: A History of Ancient Black Races, including the Black Hebrews. But as you see, by Ralph R. Windsor. That is our book of the week this week. So be sure you go out and support and pick this book up. It has been ordered, so it is on the way to my house as we speak. So looking forward to cracking it open and really learning some things, because at the end of the day, as a people, we have to learn again who we come from, what cloth we are cut from. And our history didn't start with slavery. It didn't start with slavery.
That's right.
So we need to, as a people, and not only us, other folk need to learn and respect our history as Black people. So again, that is our book of the week, and I hope that you will go out and purchase this book as me and Chad have, and and maybe it'll be something that we discuss on this podcast at a later date. Because we want to actually start to discuss some of the books that we actually read, so and discuss those things as well. So do that for us.
Indeed. So okay, and that's really it. It's been a short and sweet one today. I think we got a lot covered, and which has been really cool. So I'm gonna leave you with a verse from the Bible for this week, and it is Acts chapter 3, verse 19, and it reads, "Turn to God so that your sins may be wiped out, that times of refreshing may come from the Lord." So let's not forget from whom all blessings flow, regardless of what you see out here in these streets and what's going on, in our nation's capital or even in the world. There's only one that sits high and looks low. And regardless of what you see or how you see it, he is in control. Everything happens in his own divine purpose and reason. Some of it we can figure out, and some of it we may never know until we see his face. But just understand that we need to always turn to God so that your sins can be removed, so you can be blameless in his sight. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, again, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch us, to listen to us. And again, like I said earlier in the podcast, please, if you have something you want to say about the podcast, if you like the podcast, we want to know. If there's something you want to hear on the podcast, we want to know. If there's something you don't like, we want to hear that too. We're all about trying to make it better and make it more edifying for our people and others, because other people need to be enlightened as well. So we just want to put out really good content that you can listen to and apply in your own life. So with that, we're going to let it go, and be blessed, be safe, and we out.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360. Our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.